with CapeTalk.
You're with CapeTalk.
But for now, though, a locally developed app is helping South African church congregants stay in contact while church gatherings, of course, are banned, large church gatherings banned under lockdown regulations. Developed by Joburg software developer Nick Duncan, eDisciples channel sermons from in the form of church to a home of believers. Since its launch in October of 2019, the app now has more than 1,200 churches signing up, and besides, of course, bringing followers together online, it also offers a tithing system. And Nick Duncan joins us on the line from Johannesburg. Nick, thank you very much for making time. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Koketso. Thank you for having me.
The app itself, of course, is relevant right now and has been most relevant with people not being able to go to church. But if we can go back to the launch of it in October of last year, where did the idea come from?
Right. So, we started developing this app early last year. Our goal was to try figure out how we can help churches with two predominant issues at the time. One was member information management. So what I found was a lot of churches were using papers and spreadsheets to store member information, which becomes quite messy, and a lot can go wrong on an Excel spreadsheet when you have 1,500 members on a spreadsheet and a couple of people managing it. Simply copying and pasting something somewhere incorrectly can cause a bit of havoc. There's that, which we try to address, and then there's the other issue of safety for members in terms of WhatsApp groups. So what we found was a lot of churches are actually managing their church using WhatsApp, and there's a number of groups, and that can become a bit of a safety issue for a church through a number of reasons. That being, everyone's number is on the group, and if a visitor comes to church and you don't really know that person, you don't know who they are, you don't know what they're about, they can just grab anyone's number or start messaging anyone. So it becomes a bit of a safety issue for women and the youth that are on church groups. But we really just tried to create a church engagement platform that encompasses a lot of things that churches need. We are lagging a little bit behind the American churches in terms of getting online. So what we wanted to do really was make an all-in-one solution for churches so that they can get away from WhatsApp groups, they can get away from managing communication through SMS, they can get away from spreadsheets, and they can have everything in the cloud that's very secure, and just manage everything in one spot. Right. That's really what we're trying to do.
That's where it started, and we will get to how it has worked now with COVID-19. But what was the uptake, Nick, from that in providing that solution to the churches?
When we started marketing the app, we actually started marketing it on Facebook, and we started marketing it as an app for your church, because a lot of churches were looking for an app at the time. They don't have the skills to develop an app, and they shouldn't really be spending their budget on developing an app. They should be spending their budget on uplifting the community, which is what they're doing. So we decided, let's push out the app and see what happens. And in the beginning, it took off. A lot of churches were interested. I think in the first couple of months, we had something like 400 churches sign up, and then we started looking at our marketing strategy and how we can actually get them to actually continue using the product. Because again, pastors generally aren't technologically savvy. There are a few that are, but generally what we find is that they need someone in the church to actually help them set this up. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for the church leaders and the church members to go on one app and really increase engagement across the board.
In looking at some of the features, you mentioned member database, Nick,
right.
And there's also communication, which you mentioned. Let's talk about the kids check-in.
Right. So the kids check-in, what we actually found again with churches is that they're having a hard time keeping track, especially the medium to big churches. They need a custom solution in order to securely check in children. So what we do is we allow the church to put the children on the system, just their name, no number is needed, obviously. And then what happens is the app can go into a child check-in mode. So on a Sunday morning when everyone comes to church, and some churches get a little mascot, the one down the road has a little zebra that takes kids away to the children's church. And then what happens is as they check the child in, the parents will get a notification that says, little Johnny has been checked in. And then as they check out, they'll also get a notification again that says Johnny has checked out. We are looking at improving the feature set there. We're going to link up with label printers and all of those good things so that you can actually print a little label, put it on a band, and put it on a child's wrist.
Right.
We're just really trying to make it as safe and secure as possible for churches and just make it as easy as possible for them, because at the end of the day, a church is supposed to be building the kingdom and raising disciples. So our job actually is to make it as easy as possible for them to do that so that they can focus on their calling and we can help them with the admin.
Right. Tithing. How does tithing work through this platform?
Okay, so we spent a lot of time thinking about this because I don't want to be that software that makes money off of donations given to churches. So what we did is we partnered up with PayFast and SnapScan with their payment gateways, and we've told churches that if they want to accept tithing or online giving or any form of donation through the app, they need to have a PayFast or SnapScan account. And then what happens is we link directly to their payment gateway. So the money that comes through the app, we don't see at all. If we did have to, we'd have to take a transaction handling fee. So the 100 Rand that someone donates would end up being 96 Rand. And then after PayFast and SnapScan take their transaction fees, it'll end up being like 93 Rand. So I'd rather it go straight from the member to the church, and we don't get involved with that. We literally just provide the link for churches to get donations online. And what we found through our studies is that 67% of people prefer to give between Monday and Saturday. So not even on a Sunday. Between Monday and Saturday, they prefer to give. And then 57% of people prefer to give by an online method. So it really opens up the channel and the doors for churches to be able to get a bit more money coming in so that they can uplift the community. And that's what we found as well, Koketso, is that during this time, especially during COVID now, churches are battling a little bit because there's no regular gatherings, like you mentioned earlier. And normally a lot of tithing happens on a Sunday. So what we found is a lot of churches have expressed that there's more money going out than there's money coming in. They really are doing their job to uplift the community, especially with so many people getting retrenched at this time.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm glad that we now, we've got a sense, Nick, of what eDisciples is about. And now we can shift to, during a time of COVID, you've touched on, of course, what the impact of the pandemic to churches.
Yes.
What else are you doing to assist? What else does the platform that is the app doing to assist churches during this period specifically?
Okay, so what we found is that church engagement is pretty much at an all-time low. And churches are really battling to keep members engaged and informed, because normally they would do that at the pulpit on a Sunday. And what we actually did when COVID started really forcing the churches to shut down, and after a few months they said, look, we can get back together. There can be 50 people at a church now, make sure they're properly spaced, etc. So what we did is we created a service booking platform. So because you're only allowed 50 people at a service, we created the service booking platform in eDisciples, where you can set up a service on a Sunday morning, and you can say a maximum of 50 people, and then you can send that out to your congregation, and then people can book their seats. So you'll know exactly who's coming on that Sunday at that time slot, and you'll know if you need to book another service. If you've reached that 50, you might need maybe another service at 10 or 10:30. So we've done that. Over and above that, we've really tried to uplift the engagement through things like group chat in the app, two-way communication, all sorts of things that you would normally have on WhatsApp. We've built into eDisciples. And then, obviously, people can't go watch their pastor live or go experience church live. So what we've done is we've allowed churches to upload video and audio files onto what's called our playlist. And then that shows up right in the mobile app, so a member can go on and they can view a video of their pastor giving a service, or an audio file. They can download it and watch it later. And then the church actually gets some decent statistics from that as well. So they'll be able to see which of the members watched the video or listen to the audio file and how long they watched it for. So it's really like a two-way street. The church gets some statistics that they can use, and then the member actually gets to still be part of the church while sitting on their couch at home.
Perfect. And Nick, I remember just looking at some of the communication from your side over the past couple of months. There was a period where you warned churches against building their own church mobile apps. And why? What are those reasons? Why shouldn't churches do it if that's what they're considering right now?
Right. So they can if they want to, but like I said earlier, I don't believe that those funds should be channeled into something and their time as well. If you think about it, to build an app, I mean, we've been building this thing for over a year. There's 6 developers building it, and it's been a pretty much full-time experience from start to finish with it. So you can imagine the amount of man hours and the cost involved in building an app that's actually suitable for a church. And there's still a lot of stuff we need to build. So imagine if a church now decides to build their own app, even if it's one of these mega churches. If they decide to build their own app, it's going to cost them at least hundreds of thousands of rands to the point where they will find it acceptable. The smaller churches, yes, they could probably get one of their congregants to build a simple app for them, and that might be okay for them. But in terms of my belief, I don't think churches should spend their money and their time project managing building an app when there's already something out there and our app is free.
Right. No, appreciated, Nick. Of course, it is available, the app itself, on all platforms, Apple App Store.
Yes, Apple and Android.
All right. I don't use Android, so I was like struggling in my head, like, wait, hold on. What is that thing called again? And to be clear, Nick, if I'm running a church and I would want to be part of the platform, is there a cost to it for me?
We have a free option which literally gives you a church management solution, the mobile app, and a website for free, completely free, and that allows you to have up to 150 members and one leader. If you wanted to extend that and have two-way communication, more leaders, more members, then there's a paid premium, which starts from 133 Rand a month and then works its way up depending on how many members you have. But we really geared towards small to medium churches because we know that the larger churches, they're already organized, they already know what they're doing, they already have their own systems in place. We're really targeting those small family-orientated churches and the medium churches that just need help in getting away from paperwork and other things that they shouldn't be worrying about. So that's our target market.
All right, personal question.
Yes.
You embarking on this project,
right?
Was it purely as an app developer, or are you a child of God?
I'm both. So I'm both. I've been to Israel 6 times. I teach people in Israel.
Yeah.
I've been a church leader at some churches. I know exactly what's needed. So I thought, you know what? How can I give back to the kingdom? Why don't I build something that will make churches' lives a lot easier? And that's exactly what we did. Nice
one. Appreciate it, man. Thank you very much, Nick.
Thank you, Koketso. Thank you for your time.
All right. Nick Duncan is an app developer. Go and check it out, actually. eDisciples.com. You can check it out online or go to their app as well. It's quite fascinating. The new way in which we do things. I was an altar boy at some point in my life when I was growing up in primary school. And obviously at that time, in the 80s, never imagined such things. Never imagined apps in the interweb. Never imagined that we would have to, many, many years later, talk about an app that manages member databases, tithing, communicating. The way that communication flowed during that period, my mother used to type the church program, and I would be responsible for taking, the stencil, whatever it was called. I remember I told the story once to some people, and my mother had to correct me of how I'm relaying the story of what was happening at the time. But my mother typed it, and I had to walk across the neighborhood on the other side of Atteridgeville in Pretoria to go and deliver it to the priest who had a printer, and then that's how the church program. So I was very much a messenger at that time, assisting where I can. But now we've got communication via an app, planning and events, reporting, the kids check-in, streaming of the church program. Do you know of this app? Also, most interestingly, rather, tell us your story of how you have interacted with your church or mosque or synagogue during this time of COVID.